Hi everyone, welcome to Elemental Flows. My name is Christina and thank you for joining me in today's practice. Today I have another shorter flow prepared, and this one is a full body stretch that will open up the hips and the chest and the back. So I hope by the end of it you feel a lot more stretched out and limber. Let's get right into it. We're going to start in a wide-legged child's pose. So have the big toes together, knees are wide apart, and we'll walk the hands forward so we can rest the forehead on the mat. And let's take a few moments here just to settle into this practice. So on an inhale, let's breathe in through the nostrils. Allow the air to fill up your body. And then exhale out through the mouth. Continue with this deep breathing for a couple more rounds. And while you're here, start to notice if you're carrying any tension in your body. And if so, just try to breathe into those spaces a little bit more. Now let's take our hands and we'll just walk them over to the left side so it comes off of the mat. But still we're resting our foreheads on the floor. Now let's walk the hands over to the right side this time. And see if you could feel the stretch in the left side body. And if you can't, try walking the hands a little bit further to the right. Now let's walk the hands back into center. And then we'll walk the hands back towards us so we can lift ourselves off of the mat. And then we'll come into a neutral tabletop position. So have the hips directly over the knees, shoulders are over the wrists. And we'll do a few rounds of cat and cow. So on an inhale, let's arch the spine as we open the chest, send the chin towards the sky. And then on an exhale, let's round the spine, tuck the chin into the chest. We'll do this a couple of more times. On an inhale, we arch the spine as we send the chest up. And on an exhale, we round the spine. One more. Inhale, we arch. Exhale, we round. Come back into a neutral tabletop position, and then we'll walk our hands forward so we can bring ourselves down to the mat. Now we'll have our forearms down on the mat so that our shoulders are directly over our elbows. So we're coming into our Sphinx pose. So think about bringing or pressing into your hands and your forearms so that your chest stays lifted and open and you're not sinking into your shoulders. Think about reaching out through the crown of the head. And then from here, we're going to bend into our left knee so that the left leg comes out to the side on a 90-degree angle. And still continue to press into your forearms here so you keep your chest lifted. But if this is too much for your back, you can just simply rest your forehead down on your hands on the mat. So pick what works for you today. And if you want to go a little bit further here, try to lift your left foot a couple of inches off of the ground. Let's drop that foot if you had it lifted. Send the left leg towards the back, and we repeat on the other side. So bend into the right knee this time, and the right leg comes out to the side on a 90-degree angle. And if you want to go a little bit further, lift that right foot off of the ground. Let's drop the right foot back down if you had it lifted. Send that right leg now towards the back. And then we will press into both hands so we can lift our chest off of the ground and come back into a closed-legged child's pose. So the knees are together this time. Forehead rests on the ground. And while we're here, think about breathing into any tight spaces and allowing your back to completely round, and allowing the head to hang heavy. Let's slowly begin to lift ourselves up. Then we're going to tuck our toes underneath us so we can press into the feet and hands to come into our first downward facing dog. So again, notice where you might be holding tension, and then just try to add or bring some movement into those spaces to help open up the body. And then come to find stillness in your downward facing dog. Now let's lift that right foot into the sky and then bend the knee, send it forward into the chest so we can place that right foot down in between the hands. Let's drop that left knee onto the mat, and then on an inhale, we swing the arms forward and up to come into our low lunge. So make sure that the shoulders are away from the ears, and think about sending your hips forward towards the top of the mat. Now let's drop the hands down to the mat. We're going to walk our hands back, and as we do so, we straighten that right leg and flex that right foot. And while we're here, we're thinking about elongating the spine. So if it helps, you can have a couple of blocks and use it on the side to help prop you up so that it's a bit easier to elongate the spine. Let's walk our hands forward once again. We bend back into that right knee, swing the arms forward and up to come once again into our low lunge. We're going to cycle through those two postures a couple of times. So let's drop the hands down to the mat, walk the hands back, and straighten that right leg. One more time, come forward, bend into that right knee, swing the arms forward and up. And now drop the hands down, walk the hands back, and straighten that right leg. Let's walk the hands forward once again. This time we're going to tuck into our left toes so we can lift that left knee off of the mat and then swing the arms forward and up to come into our high lunge. So once again, keep the shoulders away from the ears. And then we're going to twist over to the right side. And as we do so, we lower our arms to shoulder height. Let's bring ourselves back to the top of the mat. Swing the arms up. And then from here, we're going to drop our back heel down on the mat. And as we do so, we straighten that right leg and send that right arm towards the back of the mat. Think about grounding into your feet here. Now let's bend back into that right knee to hold your reverse warrior. Now let's straighten that right leg, and as we do so, we windmill the hands towards the top of the mat, and then we drop our right hand either to the mat or to a block, and the left arm extends into the sky. Now let's bend back into that right knee once again. We swing that left hand towards the mat and then bring it up so that the left bicep is by the left ear. And once again, you could still have your right hand on the mat or on a block, or you can lift the forearm and rest it on your right thigh. While we're here, just think about twisting and turning the chest towards the ceiling. And now let's drop the hands to the mat as we face the top of the mat once again. We are going to straighten that right leg and then bring the back foot in a little bit to close the stance if you need, just so that you could straighten both legs. The left foot is going to be on a 45-degree angle though, so the toes face towards the top left corner of the mat. And once again, you can have blocks on either side for your pyramid pose, because while we're here, we're thinking about elongating the spine. So think about bringing the crown of the head closer to the foot as opposed to curling it into the thigh. Let's bend back into that right knee once again. And then this time we'll take that right hand on the inside of that right foot. And as we do so, we walk the right foot to the outer edge of the mat. So we're coming into our lizard pose. So you could take any of the variations if you want to drop the back knee down on the mat or come down to your forearms or use a block to come down into your forearms. Feel free to do so. I'm going to add some movement into my lizard. And then from here, everyone drop that left knee down to the mat this time. We're going to send that right arm towards the top of the mat and then send it towards the back. Now you can either hold the arm here, or if you want to go a little bit further, bend into the left knee so you could grab hold of that foot. Once again, think about twisting and turning the chest to the sky as you sink into your hips. Now release the foot if you had hold of it. Let's bring that right hand back around so it comes on the inside of that right foot. And then we're going to take our left knee off of the mat so that we can turn our chest and our hips towards the long edge of the mat. So we come into our skandasana. So make sure that the left leg is extended out to the side and the left foot is flexed. You could have a block here and place it underneath you as well if you want the additional support so that you can elongate the spine. But while we're here, we're once again thinking about turning the chest to the sky. And then let's drop the hands down to the mat. Let's do a skandasana on the other side. So bend into the left knee this time as we straighten the right leg. And you see, I don't have my left heel fully on the mat, so I can't necessarily stay like this. So I'm dropping my hands, but I'm still thinking about turning my chest up to the sky. Let's come back to our right side. So bend into the right knee this time. And then let's turn ourselves to face the top of the mat. We press into the hands now so that we can lift that right foot and send it back. Hold it up for a couple of breaths. And then let's bend at the elbows to lower down. And let's go through our vinyasa. Slide the chest forward and up to come into an upward facing dog or cobra. And release the chest, tuck the toes, press back into your downward facing dog. Take a moment here to reset and reconnect back to your breath. And then we'll repeat that on the other side. From here, let's lift that left foot into the sky, then bend the knees, send it forward towards the chest so we can drop that left foot down. And we lower our right knee down to the mat and swing the arms forward and up to come into our low lunge. And then from here, drop the hands. Let's walk the hands back. And now we straighten that left leg and flex that left foot. And once again, remember to elongate your spine here. And let's walk the hands forward. We bend back into that left knee. Swing the arms forward and up for your low lunge once again.
Send the hips forward. Reach out through the crown of the head and the fingertips. And then drop the hands, walk the hands back, and straighten that left leg. Let's go one more time. Walk the hands forward, bend into the knee, swing the arms forward and up. And now we drop the hands, walk the hands back, and straighten that left leg. Let's walk the hands forward once again, bend into the left knee. This time we tuck the right toes so we can lift the right knee off of the mat. Ground through the feet first before swinging the arms forward and up to come to your high lunge. Think about sinking into those hips. Make sure that left knee is directly over that left ankle. And then we're going to twist towards the left. And as we do so, we drop the arms to shoulder height. Good. Come back to the front. Swing the arms forward and up. And then from here, we straighten that left leg, drop that right heel down, and send the left arm towards the back. Now let's bend once again into that left knee and continue to reach out through those left fingertips. And now let's straighten the left leg. As we do so, we windmill the hands towards the top of the mat. The left hand comes to meet the mat or a block, and the right arm extends up to the sky. Think about elongating through both sides of the torso while you're here. Good, and now we bend back into that left knee, swing that right arm down and around so the right bicep comes by the right ear and the left hand stays on the mat or on a block, or you lift the forearm up and rest it on that left thigh. Let's drop the hands now to the mat. As we do so, we straighten that left leg once again. I'm taking a couple of steps in with my right foot to readjust myself so that both legs are straight. The toes of the right foot face the upper right corner of the mat. Hips are square here to the top of the mat. Good, and then let's bend back into that left knee. We bring that left hand on the inside of the left foot this time. And now we walk that left foot out to the outer edge of the mat. Come to your lizard on this side. So again, you have the options to go down to your knee or to your forearms, or add some movement or try something that I haven't mentioned. Again, play around with these poses, experiment and see what works in your body. Good, and now from here, we're going to drop that right knee down to the mat. Let's send that left arm now forward towards the top of the mat and then send it towards the back. You can stay here, or if you want to go a bit further, bend into that right knee to grab hold of that foot. While we're here, think about sinking the hips, sending the chest towards the sky. And if you have hold of the foot, think about pressing that foot into that hand. Release the foot if you had hold of it. Let's bring that left hand back around so that it's on the inside of the left foot. And now we're going to tuck the toes of the right foot so we can lift the right knee off of the mat. And then we turn ourselves so that our chest and hips face the long edge of the mat. And as we do so, we flex that right foot to come into our Skandasana. So once again, you can use a block. Just remember, while we're here, we're thinking about elongating the spine and turning our chest to the sky. Now let's take our hands, we walk them over towards the right foot as we bend into the right knee. And now let's extend the left leg out to the side and flex the left foot. Drop the hands back down to the mat and let's send ourselves over back towards that left foot as we flex the right. And now we turn ourselves towards the top of the mat. Press into the hands so we can lift that left foot and send it towards the back. Hold it here for a breath. Test your strength. And then bend at the elbows to lower down. Let's slide the chest forward and up to come to a cobra or upward facing dog. Release the chest back down, press into the hands. Let's press back into a downward facing dog. Take a moment to reconnect back to your breath. And now let's slowly begin to bend the knees so we can lower them down to the mat. And let's press back once again into a child's pose. Take whatever variation you prefer at this moment. And once again, think about releasing the full weight of you, allowing the head to hang heavy and the spine to completely round. Let's slowly begin to lift ourselves back up, and we're going to swing our legs around so that we come into a seated position on our mats. So have the legs extended out in front of you. We'll begin by taking the right foot into the pelvis area. So we'll open ourselves up to the long edge of the mat. The right foot remains flexed. And let's extend the left arm out to the side and then bring the left hand over towards the right foot. Now we lift ourselves up. That left hand is going to come behind us so that we can push off of the left hand and send our hips forward as we swing that right arm towards the back. So we're coming into a half wild thing. So think about arching the entire spine as you send the hips forward here. And let's slowly begin to lower the hips back down to the mat. We turn to face the top of the mat once again. So our right leg is straight out in front of us. And now the sole of the left foot is resting on the inner left or the inner right thigh. And we're going to take a fold. So let's reach our arms up overhead on an inhale. And then exhale, fold over that right leg. And you can either think about elongating your spine once again to bring the crown of the head closer to that right foot, or if you want to take a more passive version, you can just allow the back to round. Find what you need today. And let's lift ourselves back up. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So this time, let's extend the left leg out. The right foot comes in towards the pelvis and we open up to the long edge of the mat. And now this time we extend that right arm out and then bring it over towards the left side. And let's lift ourselves back up. This time the right hand comes behind us. We press into the right hand so we can lift our hips off of the mat as we swing that left arm back behind us. slowly lower the hips back down. And let's turn once again to face the top of the mat. This time, the sole of the right foot meets the left inner thigh. And on an inhale, let's reach up with our arms. And then exhale over that left leg. And slowly bring yourself back up. Let's now bend into both knees, and we're going to work on our core a little bit. So start to engage the core. You could stay here if you like. If you want to go a little bit further, think about sending the shins into the sky so that they are parallel to the mat. And you could have your hands here for support, resting on your hamstrings, or you can extend them out in front of you. And if you want to go a little bit further, see if you could extend the legs out in front of you and perhaps maybe take the arms up to the sky. Again, engage the core. Try to fight wherever you are. And now let's release. Bring the feet to meet the mat. We're going to take our hands behind us and we'll press into the hands and the feet so that we lift our hips up to the sky. And now let's slowly begin to lower our hips back down to the mat. And let's come into a seated position on our mat. We'll close our practice today with just one final breath here. So let's reach the arms up on an inhale. And then press palms together. And on an exhale, let's bring them down through heart center. Well done, everyone. That's it for this flow. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel a little bit more loose in your body, but also perhaps a little bit more strengthened. And yeah, let me know how this was for you in the comments. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that I get to see you at the next one. Bye for now.